It was based on a real story. I looked it up after a story involving a woman named Victoria. The movie, overall, it was good. Although it's a real story, it is like the typical story of a spouse trying to unalive their significant other most of the time for money or whatever. So when the movie came on and she had, well, this was like the beginning, but pretty much the beginning, when she went on a date with the dude with the dreads, and then Tyler stepped in like, do you really want, because she wanted to leave. He was like, do you really want to leave? And she was like, yes. So he pretty much stepped to the dude and told the dude to leave and stuff. When they did that, I thought it was like gonna be like enough in the movie, enough for J-Lo when the friend was real rude, or like in Fresh Prince where D.L. Hughley, he played Will Smith's friend, and he was being real rude to the girl, and Will stepped in the chivalry joint. So I thought it was like that. I thought that was actually his friend, and he was like, go on a date with her, did I'm swoop in and protect her. But because I'm like, did he seek her out? Because he just stumbled upon her and a wealthy woman. But see, this is like why they probably didn't make it specific to her, because it probably was a different story. They probably want to make it add a little more fluff to it. But when he did that play, that's his friend, but it didn't turn out to be his friend. Even when he was talking to somebody on the phone, times he wasn't talking to the girl when he was cheating with. When he was talking on the phone, I was like, is he talking to him? But then we actually seen a dude come into a beauty shop. She was real rich to own a beauty shop, like just a beauty shop. She had multiple beauty shop, just one beauty shop. I'm like, oh, okay, making money like that for her to be like as rich as they made her. And two, I don't know if the actual lady owned a beauty shop or she was wealthy too. Like I said, I didn't really deep dive in the story, but I'm like, she was being super understanding. You already know it's a red flag when y'all know each other that long. I'm like, get married. She didn't sign up prenup, and then she probably, I'm sure, had insurance money. But I'm like, you already know it's a red flag. Love, is a thing. You already know it's a red flag when they want to marry. That's the sister knew someone, dog, but people don't be listening, child. She was like, she knew from the moment she met him. She was like, no, something ain't right. You trying to be too perfect. Something ain't right, child. But usually how somebody meets somebody, they can't remove themselves from that first interaction. Even if they start to see red flags, if the first interaction was good, it's like they can't get over it. Like, oh my gosh, she's so protective over me. He helped me. And she just always had that memory of him no matter what else he do. And then he later on cheated on her. It did. The sister found him kissing a woman in the restaurant, and then she acted like she was gonna leave him, but then he gonna hit his head on a mirror. And then she came in while he's packing, and it was like, oh my gosh, what happened to your head? I would have just lifted him and kept going. I wouldn't care what happened to your head. I don't care. That's no longer my concern. But she's like, oh my gosh, what happened? And he was like, I got her. She asked. And then he went on and told her what happened. I can't not getting any sleep, and I tripped and hit my head on a mirror. Well, why haven't you been getting any sleep? Because I just feel so bad for what I did. That is so funny. Oh, and Tyler and Eva played in another movie together. I think he was a crazy dude too. I can't remember what the movie's called. I'll try to put it in here, but I can't remember what the movie's called. It could have been a Lifetime, could have not, I can't remember. But they started another movie too where he was a crazy dude, which is hilarious. But they'd just be casting the same people for the same stuff. They ain't even trying to switch it up. But I'm guessing that they were doing an unsurvived series. Maybe they are keeping a title for the series of stories that involve real life women. It was another time. She was so understanding. One time he came on late, and then she was sitting there at the table waiting for him. He came in. She was like, "Where you been? I've been calling your phone." He was like, "Oh, my phone was on mute." I would have been like, "I'm about to mute your light. What did you talk about?" She was like, "Oh, okay." She's just too understanding. I was like, she ain't. Then aside, Nikki, I only know her name Nikki because she kept calling him. 50 times. She was being a crazy one. She was the side chick, but the wife was being all understanding, talking about, okay, like what the heck? And then the girl Nikki, the side chick, found out because she was supposed to work for him, but then obviously it didn't end up happening because the wife got the picture that he was cheating. So obviously the wife wasn't gonna let her work in the bar or a club or whatever it was. And yeah, she was like, yeah, I found who you are, and I found out who you really were and how you was in jail for attempted murder or whatever. And then she gonna walk out on the balcony. I'm like, that's like, no, this is just a movie. She that slow. If you know you with a crazy person, you just gonna walk out on the back. I was like, he's gonna throw her over the balcony. Child. Push her. I thought he's gonna push her, but he picked up like he just, oh yeah, I'm so in love. I don't know why he drunk out of her drink either, but because he said that it's poison or something. I don't know. He said, but pretty much he don't like liquor, so I don't know why he drunk it after her, maybe because he didn't want the glass to over with her. I don't know. I'm guessing that's what it was. And then, yeah, he just tossed over, child. He tossed over her balcony of her apartment. I'm like, what? If you found out all this stuff about this man, why would you call him why would you want to be with somebody that was in jail for attempted murder? And do you think they crazy for real? Why would you? Then what happened to the dude? He beat the dude that bumped him. And didn't want to walk away with his own skateboard. We never heard from that again. They never mentioned it again. I'm like, that's crazy. And all them people outside, nobody seen nothing. But that was hilarious. And then he already tried to unalive her once in the tub, but her sister came in the nick of time and saved the day. But it's like, okay, if you try to lie somebody once and they survive, you don't do it again. Then he did it again with the parachute. She survived it. I'm like, then towards the end where she was recording him, like getting his confession, why he confessed, I don't know, but because he didn't know he was being recorded, but still. And then he was like, see, I wasn't even gonna try to unalive you no more. Like, what? I wasn't even gonna try to unalive you no more. After the second attempt, I was gonna be done with it. I'm like, what the heck? And I'm pretty sure maybe they said it in the thing, but I'm like, they probably didn't have a prenup, so he could just divorce her, still got spousal support. So I don't know why he had to unalive her. Because with the money from spousal support, I don't know if you got to be with somebody else a certain amount to get spousal support. I'm sure he could have paid it out how to get it. Honestly, he wasn't even really trying to do his business. He was just really spending the money. So I don't know what he was doing. And then what did he originally do? They didn't really say what he originally did. Like, what was his actual job before he said he wanted to open up that business? I'm like, one, he met you, love bombs you, wanted to marry you right away. And then right out there, he has some money. I'm like, yeah, the signs. You gotta pay attention to the signs and the flags. You ever blinded by his beauty? Pay attention, child. And this is the character in real life. I don't know what was going on. The real people, I don't know. But I'm like, child. Then he over here, she decided to, but you don't want to mess up your money, but you over here taking her to restaurants and driving around with her. I'm like, you was doing a lot, kissing her all at the club she work at. I'm like, child, it's too much. And then you gonna push off the balcony when you know it was a text that said that she wanted to meet you or whatever. So obviously you gonna be the first suspect. At least get a phone and delete the message or something. And then either they not gonna find it or it take them a minute to find it. You over here. No, that's the message she's saying. You know they checked the phone. You didn't even take the phone. Why you didn't take the phone? Look, throw the phone over with her. It's like, geez, Louise. It's too much. Then he messed with I know the first parachute, it wouldn't even come up, but the second one came up, but he couldn't hear it mess with it good enough. Yeah, maybe like put holes in or something. I don't know what he did to it, but it still went up. So he still was able to have her go down and possibly survive. It wasn't like he didn't give her no chance. Like, I don't know why he just didn't have it not come up at all. Maybe he couldn't do it. I don't know. He did it with the first one, but I don't know how that worked. But overall, it was a good movie. Like I said, I find it interesting that they didn't make the characters actually look like the actual people, because usually they do, and usually they put a name on it. So that was a little different. I wonder, like, what was the thinking behind that? Like, I liked that they did it, because I would rather see Eva and Tyler obviously in a movie. But yeah, the Lifetime movie this month, Black History Month, they kind of did. Oh, that's another reason too. But Black History Month, they kind of did with the movies, because Eva and Tyler. Then they had Tammy Roman too. Then I don't know if it was this month, but it was a movie with Gina from Martin too. She was in it with, I think, Mekhi Phifer. And then there was another movie with Gabrielle Bouvet and Boris Kojo. I don't know if that was out this month, but it was pretty recent. It was this year for sure. The movie Pushed Up a Plane and Survived that premiered on Lifetime Saturday. It was based on a real story. I looked it up after a story involving a woman named Victoria, who her husband, messed with her parachute, and she ended up surviving. And he also attempted to unalive her one other time, but I didn't really do a deep dive into the story. I just kind of briefly looked it up. So I don't know if the other time was in the tub too, where he gave her something and she got the tub and she, fell asleep. And then when she fell asleep, you get submerged and under the water and then obviously drown pretty much. So I didn't do a deep dive. I know the parachute thing happened for real, but I don't know what the other attempt on her life was. I wonder why they didn't use her exact name. Maybe because the actual woman and man in real life is white. And then, Eva and Tyler are obviously black. So I wondered, did they do it because of that, or was all the details of the story not exact? I wonder, usually, especially when it's involving white women, I feel like they usually use their name. They be like, push off the plane is survived, Victoria story, no. That's what they usually title it. So when they was like based off a real story, I was like, how real is this? That's why I looked it up, because they was like, sometimes when they be like based on a true story, I be like, how real is it? Because how many stories did you pull? Did you pull multiple different stories? Did you just pull one story? So I'm surprised they didn't put a name on it. But like I said, maybe because they want to do different casting. Because if you put a name on it, you wouldn't know why you could cast Eva and Tyler. Well, you could, but people would be like, that's weird. But if you just do based on a story, don't actually put a name on it, then you can cast whoever you want. So maybe they want to, hire more. They, since they're telling so many white people stories, maybe they want to also at least give the opportunity to black actors. I don't know. If that's the case, you can just tell black people stories, but I don't know. Now you heard, So let's get to the movie. The movie